It's quests! We're gonna go through them as fast as I can. Like last time, we're not discussing the quests themselves, but the rewards. The general rule of thumb though, if you ever want to know which one you should take, is try to formulate in your head just how many turns these quests are going to take, and if they're worth it for the reward. For example, on these choices, the tribes are Beast, Undead, Naga, Quillbore, and Demon. All of these choices are tough, but if I had to take a guess, I think it would take about this amount of time for them to be completed. Icicle would take me 4 to 5 turns at best. The lack of summoning Death Rattles or Reborn minions on my board and shop really hurt. Endless Blood Moon would take 4 to 5 turns. Same problem, lack of summoning Death Rattles and Reborns is making it tough. Invigorating Conch can take 4 turns due to the blood gems and spellcraft cards I will be getting each turn. Then I think about which ones would actually help me. Icicle is subpar and only really works with mechs, which are not in the game. Endless Blood Moon, while good, takes a while to finish. I could end up finishing this later than predicted if I win my fights too well. Invigorating Conch isn't the greatest, but it works well with Nagas. So due to how fast Conch is, and that I have a plan that can work towards it, I choose this quest. This is just what I have in mind when it's time to choose quests. Alright, with that out of the way, let's talk about the rest of the quests. Also, don't forget, if you haven't already, watch my old quest video where I discussed the first quests that were in the game. Finish this quest, you get Millhouse's hero power minus the downside. While that sounds good, especially in the lobby when you want to buy plenty of cards, it takes some time to set up. Other rewards in the game give you strength in your board to defeat your opponents. Bloodsoaked Tome, while it does make cards cheaper, would prefer you to have a build that already needs you to buy a lot. Unfortunately, that's not always the case, such as when you play Beast or Undead. So be careful when picking this reward. It's definitely great on heroes like Kerchus or Silas though. Great to accompany a Death Rattle Reborn heavy build, something you usually make when you're Beasts, Mechs, or Undead. It could even hit the important targets that your opponent is trying to protect. The only downside is that if they have a lot of health on one minion, the effectiveness of Boom Squad goes down. Still, it's a decent quest that can go amazing if you aim for the aforementioned tribes. Now you can give anyone Divine Shield. The downside is that you have to hold the card for a turn. That means once you gain the reward, you have to wait a further turn to use its strengths. That might not sound so bad, but in the meta that is tempo heavy, it's crucial. Base Scale is someone who can definitely help out with that. There will be times where you're unsure of what to give Divine Shield stats to, and also moments where you're holding onto a second copy of a card or Battlecry cards, but you don't want to put them on the board. Either in fear of being board locked or it's just not a card you want to keep in the long run. That's how Base Scale helps out. If you focus Divine Armor on one card, then Base Scale will keep summoning it until you're ready to put the buff on another card. This is kind of RNG on how good it can really be. Sometimes you get a card that really fits in your build or a card that's just generally really strong. Other times it's a card you can't use and it ends up being 1 gold. I wouldn't form a strategy around this due to its random nature, but it can save you in a pinch when you need a comeback. With multiple blood gem buffs in the game, you can either work towards a Quillbore build or be flexible and use them to buff strong cards with Divine Shield or Cleave. With all of the Quillbore support, it's not too difficult to get a build revolving around build gems. What I would do when I have this quest is try to focus on getting Quillbores that generate or buff blood gems so that I can buff my mains multiple times. Then I will keep myself strong and eventually find Chogger or Bristleback to round out the build. Fortunately, most of the enhanced parts cards are useful. Reborn to give it to Leroy, Poison or Death Rattles, Divine Shield for anyone with strong attack, and Wind Fury is perfect for those with Cleave. Taunt is the only one that's underwhelming, especially since giving Taunt is already a common ability. You can't make a build around this unfortunately, but you can scam a lot of folks with it, especially with the parts that give Divine Shield and Reborn. Sometimes you'll get tier 6 cards, and sometimes you get garbage. That's the name of the game when it comes to Shifter Zerus. There really isn't much to say because of the high variance of the card. What I will advise though is that you should not go out of your way to complete this quest if it means wasting a turn. For example, I had one game where my quest was to refresh Bob's shop 9 times. I rolled, I sold my free dealing gambler, and I completed the quest immediately. And let me just say, there is no tier 6 in the game that would have stopped all of the losses I was taking until I got my 8th place. So don't do what I did and you should be okay. Just like the aforementioned quests, Ethereal Evidence is high variance. Sometimes you get great quests, sometimes you don't. Just pick which one helps you in your position and go with it. Do note that certain quests like Yogg-Tastic Tasties or Timeline Acceleration only take effect at the start of your next turn. So be careful when deciding on what quest you want. You basically have a built-in Brand Bronzebeard, except that if you have Brand, it triggers an extra time. War Horn is great in lobbies where Brand excels, such as Murlocs, Dragons, Elementals, and Demons. Be aware of that, and be aware of how well it works with cards like Rylak Metalhead, Young Murk-Eye, and Caligos. Even with double Battlecry, don't buy every Battlecry. This might sound like a no-brainer, but it's an absolute waste of gold to buy Rockpool Hunter. It might even be a waste of gold to buy Twilight Emissary. Focus on Battlecries that give you an extraordinary amount of stats or economy. Doing so will lead you to victory with this quest. Also, don't forget about Witchwing Nest Matron. She can help you out with the Battlecries. Icicle is only really good when you have mechs. Since they love getting plenty of attack and they got magnetic cards, they work quite well. They even have Death Rattle cards to help with the Avenge procs. That's honestly it. I'd love to say you can use this card to buff up your Blade Collector, but I don't think that's a good idea. You have to worry about when you should play the Blade Collector instead of keeping it in your hand. If you can use base skill to synergize with it, it's still a pretty low health card. You would honestly do better if you had Red Hand or Divine Armor. Personally, I try to avoid this as best as I can. Like how Sickle is best with mechs, Conch is best with Nagas. Being able to buff up minions on Bob's shop with Deep Blue Crooner Spellcraft is absolutely insane. You can easily get your minions to have insanely high stats. You could potentially do this strategy with board buffers like Nomi, Elemental, or Barnstormer, but those are just too difficult to pull off. This quest is made for the Crooner build, and I hope my gameplay highlights that. You can use this in two ways. Basically, you can be like Arana, or you can be like Shudderwalk. What I mean by that is that you can either get a free card or replay a Battlecry. Not a whole lot else you can do with Kidnap Sack, but it doesn't make it a bad quest. It's quite flexible. You can even use it on a board where you want to keep all 7 cards, just so you can play some Battlecries or make yourself strong without selling a key card. And lastly, just don't use this on Zesty Shaker. It doesn't work. I've tried. This is my favorite quest right now where I want a really easy top 4. If you're in a lobby with Murlocs and Elementals, I would literally just stay at tier 2 so I can find Patient Scout, Tad, and Elemental for buffs. You will be surprised at how big your minions can get. Fill the rest of the board with other tribes or dual tribes, get Selfless Hero, and buff them insanely high. You may not get bursts, but you will get MMR. Now you get to be like Ysera, except better. Consistency is key in Battlegrounds, and Scepter makes it easy for you to go towards a specific tribe. Now the downside is, it will take spots of cards that would be from your normal rolls. What that means is, if you're looking for a card that is neutral or another tribe, now you have a lesser chance to find it. So be extra careful when you choose this quest. If you pick Scepter, you almost always have to go towards that tribe, or else you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Kind of a minor stat buff, even if you do got a strategy in mind. I think this is great if you can do a build where your important cards are all of the same tier, and you can recycle the same tiers. For example, recycling Primal Fin while buffing base skills. But other than that, there really isn't that much of a strategy. This is perfect for a build where you recycle the same tribes constantly throughout the game. Elementals, pirates, murlocs, and demons are the usual tribes that love this. It's almost like doing a Caligos build, but instead of buying battle cries, it's just tribe minions. Pretty simple quest, and not much else to say about strategy. Decent stat buff on the board, especially for tribes that already has plenty of taunts like elementals and demons. The sweet number you want to hit is 3 or 4 taunt minions, then your non-taunt minions can get buffed. If you combine this with Walking Forward and Drakari Enchanter, you'll be able to watch your entire board get buffed passively. Think of this like Galakrond's hero power except twice. While that sounds nice, the downside is that you get these spell cards at the beginning of your next turn, so be careful of that. Also, be sure to know what cards you're looking out for. Most players will use these cards to search out for tier 5s or tier 6s, but there can be times where you're trying to find a triple instead. So don't be afraid to use it on a lower tier minion if tripling a card is a better option for you. You got a built-in Titus Rivendare, and you don't have to protect them either. Very self-explanatory, but I would try to rush this card out if it gives you something like Octosauri or Base Skill. It might take some time to get going since Death Rattle scaling usually happens during combat, but if you can survive and make a proper strategy around these Death Rattles, then you will easily defeat your opponents. That's it, that's Quest. I really did this too late, but better late than never, right? Quests aren't even really gone anyways, with the new anomalies coming out, as well as Denathrius existing. Alright, see you all later. I hope you all climb. Before I give out my outro, I just want to mention my other guides. MetaFy now has a membership. In that membership, you not only get a voucher for a coach of your choosing, hopefully you choose me, but you will get access to articles and videos that are exclusive to the website. It's been a while since I did a quick hero tips videos, so I made my own guides on heroes on MetaFy. Accompanying that, I have gameplay footage of just how exactly I play those heroes too. I'll share my support link in the description, so please check that out. Be sure to give my video a like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps out my growth and my goal to be monetized by the end of the year. If you're interested in coaching, I have multiple year experience coaching players in Battlegrounds, so consider booking me in MetaFy or WeCoach. If you want to help support my channel in another way, consider donating to my Ko-fi. See you all next time.